What's going on, folks? Zohran Mamdani has won the mayor of New York City against Andrew Cuomo, even though Andrew Cuomo was endorsed by donors like Bill Ackman, Donald Trump, and many in the GOP in an effort to try to stop him. We're going to talk about a few reasons why Mamdani, excuse me, I keep mispronouncing his name, why he won the election, and also just some things that the GOP doesn't understand about the future of politics. And I really think it's important to go over a lot of this stuff because if we don't figure this stuff out, I do think people like this guy are going to take over the Democratic Party, and not to blame any demographic because we're all in this together. But the GOP boomers that are currently running the show, if they don't figure this out, they're basically going to leave us to the Mamdanis of the future, and it's not going to be good. So we really need to get into this stuff. Thank you guys for being here. Dream Rare Podcast starts now. Give me a thumbs up if everything sounds and looks good.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, Facebook? What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, Brooke? I got to give you guys a little bit of a warning. I've been really under the weather. I caught the futuristic COVID 3035, Fauci, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and potentially Xi Jinping flew to the moon, got some new strand of something and gave it to me. So I've been super, super under the weather. I mean, I don't want to get into it right now, but the last 3 days I could barely lift my head. My head hurt. My whole body was sore, and I still sound like garbage. So if you're wondering why, I'm sorry. I apologize. I might not even get through this whole live stream. I'm going to try though, because I got a lot going on in my head right now and a lot that I've wanted to say, but physically I've been just incapable of doing anything the last couple of days. And today I feel good enough to talk, and I'm going to go for it. So thank you guys for being here. Sorry about how much I might or may not cough or how terrible I sound, but this is like the worst flu I've ever got in my life. And I'm trying to figure out how to stop getting the flu. It sucks. And I used to not get as sick. So I got to figure out a new strategy to not have this happen next year. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to get into some of the obvious and some of the less obvious with the whole Mamdani thing, because this was a massive, really shit show for the political establishment, for the Democrats and the Republicans. I think, I'll say this. Maybe this shouldn't be how I start, but it's too late. I'm kind of all over the place. I don't think Mamdani is going to be some sort of progressive outside hero. I know a lot of people on the progressive left are looking at this guy like he's going to really save the day and he's really different. I've already seen pictures of him with Alex Soros. I've already seen, the fact that he got a lot of donors and stuff. So just like Bernie Sanders and just like Trump, I think this guy's going to be another flop, similar to AOC. He had the momentum of essentially being an outsider for his first election. So when you have no background, it's easy to say what you're going to do and who you're going to be. And it seems like that's the best base for an election nowadays. Trump won. He was an outsider. Obama was an outsider. Even though everybody knew Trump, it's like he had no political background really, and he was going to change the system. Mamdani, same thing. So if you have this guy who's got a nice smile, he's, saying everything that everybody wants to hear, he seems pretty cool, why would you choose Cuomo to run against him? I mean, this is like, there's going to be so many people saying, oh, what are New Yorkers thinking? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Cuomo, like who, I could talk about this for 3 hours, so I'm going to try to condense it, but who made that decision? Who is like, Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced governor who's a lockdown, who did the lockdowns and did that whole nursing home scandal. Let's bring him back and we'll put him as the moderate. So psychologically, I just want people to pay attention to, like, do you realize how far crazy becomes normal? And then people go, well, Andrew Cuomo is the moderate. We got to vote for him or else we're going to get Mamdani. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't care if you voted for Cuomo. Yes, he's better than Mamdani in certain ways. But do people not realize that somebody that you could basically consider a communist because he locked his state down and was proud of it and was locking down nursing homes, he was a full-blown communist, authoritarian psychopath during COVID. Now he's the moderate. Now Donald Trump is the normal guy because he's running against Kamala Harris. This is what the elites do to us. They basically just, I'm not going to say they're fully orchestrating every aspect of it, like there's no actual human will, but you get what I'm saying. It's like people don't realize the psychological games that they play. And then everybody on the left and right ends up having Stockholm syndrome. And it's like, Donald Trump's the only one who could stop us from getting Biden, even though Trump was there during 2020 when the lockdown happened. Cuomo's the only one who could stop us from communism, even though he's kind of a communist himself because he locked down, but he's a moderate now. In any normal society, Cuomo would be a communist who can't run whatsoever because he was so far left or right or authoritarian, whatever you want to say. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the advice too with the IV. I'll think about it. But so just like right away, just terrible, terrible, terrible choice. And in my opinion, a huge misstep for Trump and all these people to endorse Cuomo. I feel like that's super embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing to have to endorse Cuomo, but it's even more embarrassing endorsing him while there's a Republican candidate while he loses. You will never find me endorsing Andrew Cuomo. Never. That's embarrassing. So all around L's on L's on L's for Cuomo, Trump, the GOP, even Curtis Sliwa, who had no chance, wouldn't drop out. Like it was just total shit show. I don't know. I could talk about it a lot, but overall, Cuomo, terrible candidate. Mamdani, new candidate, younger candidate, guy that seems a little bit interesting. I don't know what people were thinking or why they ran Andrew Cuomo. One thing I want to bring up to the GOP, because I think just like before I get into this, with UFC, sorry if this is like a reference that doesn't make sense to people, they say styles make fights. Yes, if you're a good fighter, you'll beat most people, but it's really about like a style. And just like in politics, styles make elections. Like different people do well against different people. Winsome Sears is really cool to me, but she's not really a good candidate for whatever reason. Like people didn't want to vote for her. Jack Chitterelli did terrible. So in this sort of an election, I think people always have to consider like who's running against who and how it comes across. Because if you just say, oh, people really like socialism now because Mamdani won, and that proves that this and that, you ran Andrew Cuomo. You know what I'm saying? It's like people would always say, how could you vote for Donald Trump? You ran Kamala Harris. Like styles make elections, and it really matters who you're going up against. Would Donald Trump have won the election if Joe Biden wasn't like delusional? If they didn't switch him out with Kamala Harris? Would he have won the election if Trump didn't get persecuted by Alvin Bragg and get shot in the ear? Like a lot of these things make a huge difference to whether someone does or doesn't look well against their competitors at a certain time. A lot of stylistic matchups, but also there's a lot of timing involved. Like Trump running in 2022 probably loses. Trump running after he gets shot, after Biden stumbles a lot on stage. Now it's the right time for Donald Trump, but it wasn't before. So timing, stylistic matchups, these all matter. Personality, yes, policy matters, and I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I think a lot of people will estimate what's going on here. Like, oh, this is what the people think. This is what that. Sometimes it's really simple. There are going to be other things that I think played a factor, but in the biggest piece of the puzzle of why Mamdani won, I don't even think it's socialism. I don't think it's communism. I don't think it's the fact that this or that. I think Andrew Cuomo, terrible candidate, terrible idea. This guy just picked a good time and, ran a good campaign. With that being said, socialism is not scary to the youth anymore. Sorry, I'm going to drink some tea. I'm going to power through this stream. Like I told people, I've had like the worst flu of my life the last 3 days, which sucked because I really wanted to talk about this stuff. And today I'm like really powering through trying to do it, but it's going to be a battle. And then next week I'll be fine. But with socialism, it's not scary to the youth anymore because Republicans did socialism. In 2020, I harped about this for so long, and people are like, shut up, it's election time, don't badmouth Trump, this and that. I'm an analyst. I'm just talking about what's going on. I'm not here to play political games or just make people feel good. I don't know what else to do. I'm just telling the truth. Trump locked the country down. That's not a good idea. Trump printed trillions of dollars. Trump handed out COVID checks, which the year before everyone was complaining that was an AOC or an Andrew Yang idea. Trump gave a bunch of money to the pharmaceutical industry during Operation Warp Speed. Every dollar that we give to Ukraine or Israel isn't coming from nowhere. So this idea that socialism is so scary to the youth, it's really not anymore because Republicans aren't even capitalists themselves. So if Republicans were running a really tight ship and they acted like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, and everything was really good and the economy was booming and there wasn't really much inflation, then it's like, whoa, socialism. Wow. That's what I thought in 2017 too. And I'm not saying it's a great political process. I'm just saying it's like, it actually was scary when nobody saw it. Once our party did it along with the Democrats, it's like, what are you going to scare somebody into handing out a Trump check? You already handed out a Trump check. Like that was this crazy idea from AOC and Andrew Yang 3 years ago. Trump did it. Trump was like the original socialist, not the only one. I heard FDR was, and I'm sure a lot of politicians have a bit of a fusion between capitalism and socialism. But it's like hard listening to the Dinesh D'Souza's and the Ted Cruz's of the world, where they're like, everybody's an anti-Semite, anti-Semitism, blah, blah, blah. Socialism sucks, anti-Semitism. That's this boomer Zionist thing that's not working anymore. It's like, first of all, we'll talk about the Israel stuff later because it's the hot button issue. But socialism sucks was believable when no one was doing it. Once our party did it and the Democrats did it and nobody talked about it because Trump was the president, and no disrespect to the late, great Charlie Kirk and all of these organizations, Prager, God bless. But like, they didn't really cover the lockdown that thoroughly. Like, you didn't really see Turning Point or PragerU or all of these socialism sucks organizations. You didn't really see them freak out that much during like Trump checks, etc., because just like they don't like socialism and they're more, libertarian, they also are like heavily in with Trump and GOP politics. So when Trump or GOP politics does something that's uncharacteristic of the values that they're preaching, they don't really talk about it. And that's what turned me off in 2019 to the whole, fake right, which I realized was all fake. Trump and DeSantis passed speech laws for Israel. None of these organizations talked about it. I don't know why that happened, but every time I put my thumb up, it just freezes. That's great. But they pass speech laws. None of these organizations talk about it. They print money. None of these organizations complain. They hand out Trump checks. Everybody says it's just an emergency. Isn't socialism always an emergency? Do they ever just tell you they're doing it doesn't matter what the excuse for why it's happening. It's still happening. So nobody really believes that version of the right anymore. Like, that's a time that went and passed and now everybody realizes is fake and stupid. So, without talking about it too much, I think I've said exactly what I meant and I've explained it thoroughly. You can't say socialism sucks for 4 years, then do it, and then expect everybody like that's left wing in their 20s to be so scared of it. Nobody's scared of it anymore. The Republican Party doesn't even admit that they did it. And all of the old rules have been out the window. So this political concept isn't scary to people. Economy is really important. I mean, hold on, I need some water. Apologize. I'm going to take my time a little bit, but Trump is really annoying me on this topic, like heavily. And I don't want to be too annoyed because, it's just politics. But Trump keeps like true socialing saying, the economy is great. He said the affordability problem is dead. It's just a Democrat lie. He said, there is no problem. Everybody's just making it up. I don't know the exact quotes, but I know today he said affordability issue is dead. It's not real because like the Walmart CEO said, it's a 25% decrease in their Thanksgiving package. Although their Thanksgiving package has 15 items, not 21. So it's like Oreos giving you 50% less and saying, oh, it's cheaper. It's like, who cares? With that being said, when it comes to the economy, Trump is doing the worst thing possible. And I'm praying, especially to boomers. I know I shouldn't just single you guys out, but it seems like everybody younger doesn't do this. When I talk about the economy, they say, well, Anomaly, did you expect it to get better within like 5 seconds? Trump, it takes him a little bit of time. It's not going to be this overnight thing where the economy is just perfect right now. And I'm trying to explain to people, you're saying that, but Trump isn't saying that. So do you not see the disconnect where you're saying it's going to take time, which totally makes sense to me. Of course it's going to take time. But is Trump on True Social screaming in all capitals, it's going to take time? It's going to take time. Hey, guys, relax. Yes, it's a little wonky right now. There's pros, there's cons, but it's going to take a little time. And within a few years, we'll be booming again. He's not saying that. So you're making up excuses or hypotheticals or some sort of narrative that's actually smarter than Trump's. If Trump went on True Social and said that, I wouldn't be here right now complaining about it. But he's not saying that. What Trump is saying, he's a billionaire who's made hundreds of millions of dollars doing crypto recently, who's, completely out of touch, who probably hasn't had to do anything for himself in like 50 years. He's sitting on True Social talking to himself in all caps and talking to boomers saying, there is no affordability problem. There is no problem. The economy's perfect. What are you guys talking about? How do people not? The groceries are down. I don't know anybody that thinks groceries are down. Maybe if you shop at whatever the cheapest place in your state is, and you find it's like slightly cheaper than it used to be, I'm sure there's certain products that are slightly cheaper than they used to be. On average, I haven't talked to a single person that has their rent is not cheaper. Maybe their gas is cheaper, but as far as everything, like there is an issue in this country with affordability. And I'm not saying like everybody's necessarily broke, but I'm more talking about your dollar doesn't go as far. You're not getting paid as much. The price of everything is rising. And then you have a billionaire sitting on True Social telling you, actually, you know what? This isn't even happening. It's so stupid. And all I have to say to the people, especially on my Facebook page, that are saying, Anomaly, it takes time. I don't disagree. Tell Trump that. Tell Trump to stop tweeting in all caps that affordability is perfect right now and the economy's awesome, because that's not a message that really relates to people. When Trump won the election last time, he campaigned on the economy sucks. Biden is doing a bad job. Let me fix it. As soon as he gets in, he gatekeeps the economy and says, oh, look, it's perfect now. It's not perfect. I could sit here for an hour and explain 50 different ways that this country is falling apart, but I'm not blaming Trump. It's not to say that it's his fault. It's just to say it's happening. In order to please people, you have to admit a problem exists. If you're not even admitting it exists, people lose faith in you to fix the problem that they know that they have that you're not talking about. Mamdani talks about this stuff. It doesn't say he's right. I don't know that he wouldn't have won an election against somebody besides Cuomo, but in the future, these Mamdanis are going to win, because if they're sitting catty corner to a Trump who's not Donald Trump, who doesn't have the charisma and the swagger, like Trump's abrasive personality, it doesn't work well with everybody else. And I talked about this last stream, so I won't make it that much time. But excuse me, I need some water real quick. I don't know who in the Trump administration told him to have a bunch of bratty people just tweeting like ICE tweets and just being like super nasty about everything. It's not a good look. Like that type of vibe barely works for Trump, and it only works for Trump. All these other Trump mini-me's, like in the future, if it comes down to a loser like a Ted Cruz or a Lindsey Graham versus a Mamdani, we're going to get swallowed alive by the Mamdanis. And the people that people actually like the Thomas Masseys, Trump and his donors don't like, and they're going to endorse Lindsey Graham instead. Like they're so out of touch, and I'm seeing it right now. I'm not that great at predicting politics. I'm better at predicting like actual things, because politicians change and puppets kind of change. But as far as like the actual thing that's going on, it usually is very consistent. But I could see it right now. I could see all of these Republican boomers like Trump and all these annoying people that follow him and think that everything he says is so great. I could see them not realizing in the next 4 years how annoying they are, how much everybody hates them, how bad the economy is, how obnoxious they are, how shit tweeting about ICE isn't a good idea. And I could see them just waiting till Trump's last dying breath, breath in office, and just being annoying, and then getting blown out in the next election by Democrats and being lobbed up to like Gavin Newsom or AOC. I could see it right now. Not saying it should happen, not saying it necessarily will happen, but Trump only wins when he collaborates with, RFK Jr., when he acts somewhat normal. Like, I'm not saying he can't be funny or anything, but this whole like shit posting, bratty, the economy's perfect, it's such a weird vibe. I could just see them blowing it completely and handing us off to the Mamdanis of the world. I see it right now. And I'm like, they're going to do it. They don't want to listen. They don't want to change the rhetoric. They don't want to consider anybody else. They just want to shit post and act like brats and not do that much. And it's just not going to work. As far as, being an outsider, I think that plays a huge role in why Mamdani won. Another topic of discussion. I'm probably only going to stay 10 more minutes because I thought I had more in me. Sorry about this, folks. For those just joining too, I apologize. I couldn't even do anything the last 3 days. I was like, had the worst headache of my life. My whole body was aching. Today I felt a little better and I had a lot on my mind. I thought maybe I could do like an hour or do one of my power streams, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. I don't think I have enough energy or power in me, but I'll get it back and I'll be back soon. But with that being said, the topic of Israel is going to play a factor in future elections for sure. See, I want to put this on the screen too. This is some retarded boomer on Facebook. He says, anomaly getting blown by Democrats is exactly what you dream about. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you guys just like to yell and be annoying. I mean, maybe you're arguing with somebody else or something. I don't know. But it's like, you're just like, and it's like, you guys are going to have no problem just screwing up the entire country, screwing up the entire economy. You guys already completely blew it with Reagan with the amnesty, and this country is just like a foreign nation at this point. Like, you're just going to ruin everything. And then, like, in your last breath, you're going to be like, and then you're going to fumble the bag to Mamdani. And then we're going to have to live under literal communism for 10 years because you retards just completely blew it. You had the best country, the best economy. You had demographics. You had everything in your favor, and you literally just blew it all. And in your last 20 years, you're just going to act absolutely obnoxious, just try to suck off Trump every day, and then act like that's somehow going to fix the country. It's embarrassing. But maybe you weren't even talking to me. But too late. It's already happened. On the topic of Israel, most people under 40 at this point, they don't want politicians to suck off Israel. They don't want to see their politician flying and putting on a little funny hat and kissing the wall, even though Mamdani did that as well. He didn't fly and kiss the wall, but he did put on the funny hat, and he definitely, did what he had to do to get elected. But with all that being said, I think one thing that appealed him, especially on the Democratic side against Cuomo, was the fact that they asked, like, which foreign country would you fly to if you won the election? And Mamdani was like, I would just stay here. And most of the candidates said they'd go to Israel. They'd go to Israel. They'd go to Israel. This is going to be the hot button issue for the next 5-10 years, even in the GOP. It's going on now between Dinesh D'Souza and Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. Like, there's all sorts of Nick Fuentes. It's this massive thing. If you're on social media, it's literally like the number one debated issue on the left and the right now. And I don't think it's going to go away. And, I've had probably hundreds of videos talking about this, so I'll try to make it as brief as possible. It's a lot more complex than you're going to see on Fox News or Newsmax, and they're going to break down. It's not anti-Semitism versus the good guys. That's literally equivalent to explaining like crime rates to the left, and they say, you're a racist, I'm the good guy. It's like, no, there is crime in these neighborhoods. And they go, no, that's racism. You're a racist, Republican. I'm the good guy because I stand up with this community. That's like, literally, that is what Republicans are doing with the Jewish community. Literally that. The funniest part is the narrative that they promote on Fox News and Newsmax and these like boomer Zionist organizations. You would think that 100% of Jewish people in America are on board with Republicans, and the left is just so anti-Semitic. That's what you would believe. But if you look up voting patterns, I believe 70% of American Jews vote for the Democrats. So clearly something is not translating, because if you guys are like the savior of Israel and the savior of Jews, and you're just so great, and every politician is kissing the wall and passing speech laws and giving them money and doing everything they can for Israel and Jewish people, and every Republican, they literally just sit there and they say, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm the nicest person. Everybody else is anti-Semitic. Tucker Carlson's anti-Semitic. Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. How come you're only getting 30% of the Jewish votes? So there's some sort of disconnect. And the reason is, if you look into it, they vote more Democrat. And also when it comes to socialism, Marxism, feminism, listen to the Prager clip if you can find it. It's on my Twitter. He even admitted, Dennis Prager, one time, he said, feminism, pretty much every ism except for Nazism is what Dennis Prager said. He said had a large backing of the people that must not be named. I don't even want to talk about them as a demographic because it's hate speech. But in general, it's like, for how much the Republicans pander, they don't even get 50% of the vote. Why? Because they're not doing it to get the vote. They're doing it for the donors. There's big money going into politics. They pay off your politicians. Your politicians turn into little, circus animals for these people. Not literally, but metaphorically. And just like they do for other industries and other donors, they do what they want. So most people have caught wind of this. And obviously, I think this helped Mamdani a little bit. I think he took it to a different level than maybe some Republicans would as far as like his foreign policy, et cetera. But in the future, the GOP needs to realize that people want American politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey who literally care about America. It's really simple. If you want to figure out like what I like or what I don't like, what I do like, I'll use Marjorie because she's a little bit easier for some people than Thomas Massey for some reason. Like some people think Thomas Massey is like a libertarian and he's not conservative enough. Okay, Marjorie, she doesn't like everything she's talking about all the time isn't Ukraine and Israel. It's like America, our healthcare. That's another thing too. When's the last time Trump had to pay for healthcare? He doesn't even notice. He's a billionaire. But it's like, oh, it's the affordability problem is dead. When people log into whatever stupid website they have to use to get health insurance in this scammy country, everybody's premiums are going to go up. The price of everything's going to go up. The price of rent's going to go up. Like the price of car insurance is going to go up. Everything's going to keep going up, but people are not going to be paid this massive amount more than they were a couple years ago. And then we got to look at True Social and have some guy being like, oh, everything's affordable. It's so great. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene is on social media saying it's not that great. It's not that affordable. She's like, I love America, but my Georgia constituents are really suffering. The way she's acting is the future of the Republican Party if you want to win. You got to actually give a shit about your people and stop flying to the wall wearing a small hat that isn't even your religion and basically pledge allegiance to a foreign country. Nobody likes that anymore. It's not good for elections. It's good for the donors. It's good for the establishment. But as soon as the establishment crumbles, there's going to be a new wave of people that takes over. And if the GOP does not want to allow that into their party, which they might not, then it's going to be the left and it's going to be the Mamdanis. And I don't want it to be that, but it's like, look at Dinesh D'Souza, look at freaking all of these scumbags on the right. They don't want Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene to come through. These are never mind. I was going to say something really rude about Dinesh D'Souza, but I'll save it for another time. But like these people are going to stop us from having like the actual solution to our party, which is an America first person who doesn't worship a foreign country. They don't want to allow it. All right, I'm just going to put this guy on the screen. Thank you, Dan, for your very nice opinion. You seem like a super nice guy. It's not hateful to want a politician in my country to serve my country. It's not hateful to notice that they're passing speech laws in America for one race, one religion, and one foreign nation. That's not hateful. The more you say that it's hateful to say the truth, the more people are not going to like that. The more people are going to wake up. When I said this stuff in 2019, nobody even knew what I was talking about. Now, more than 50% of the country, the world, the internet, everybody's talking about it 90% of the time. Do you know why? Because I'm right. Anomaly, you're hateful if you don't want to give your money to a foreign nation. That's borderline extortion. That's borderline blackmail. Just like Charlie Kirk said before he died, he said he was being morally blackmailed, okay? We've all been morally blackmailed for 6 years now. If you don't want to give billions a year to foreign countries, you hate people. We're going to tell everybody you hate people. If you don't want to shut up about the speech laws they're passing against the U.S. Constitution into America for one foreign nation, we're going to say that you're hateful. We're not going to hire you at this place. It's moral blackmail, just like Charlie Kirk said. So keep making a fool of yourself, buddy. Nobody believes you anymore. There's nothing hateful about this. And if you actually care about people and you want people to like Israel and you want people to support them, you have to allow people to have an honest conversation about it. If anybody tries to say anything about it, okay, imagine if there were anti-Italophobe speech laws and Italians were funding Donald Trump and I just talked about it and you said, you hate Italians, you hate Italians, you hate Italians. Do you think that would make people like and trust Italians more or not? You understand what I'm saying? It's so obvious. $100 super chat. Thank you for the super chat, my guy or girl. I think guy. He said, I'm running for Lieutenant Governor of Texas against Zionism and Dan Patrick as a Republican. Hope you've had a chance to look at my website on my bio. I'm a big supporter of Thomas Massey. I haven't. Thank you for the super chat. I'm going to try to get through my stream today. I'm I'm not feeling well, but thank you. So with all that being said, I appreciate Dan on Facebook for bringing this up, because every time people bring it up, it just makes me want to talk about it more. I don't want to take too long, because my audience, I could promise you that they're getting tired of this. I was pro-Israel completely, thought nothing bad about the country ever. I started noticing they were passing hate speech laws in America for Israel, and people like Dan just started yelling at me, calling me a hater, saying I hated people. What are you talking about? If I don't agree with the George Floyd speech bill, does that mean I hate black people? If I notice crime rates in a neighborhood, does that mean I hate every person that's ever walked the earth? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that's what they do on the right. The Zionists, they're absolutely nuts. They're insane. It's almost like they want everybody to not like them. Like, if you're like, hey, I like you, and they're like, you hate me. I'm like, no, I don't. But they just want to like bother you constantly until you actually don't like them or something. I don't know. It's like this weird reverse engineering fetish or something, where they need people to like hate on them or something. Maybe then so they could use it to get more money or speech laws or something. I don't really know. But in general, you said I could care less about the hate speech laws. Bro, you could find my history checks out, my boy. You could find videos of me talking about this in 2019. Like, I've I've gone live almost every day since I was like 19 years old. I mean, it was more about rap before, but as far as politics, it's all public. Like, my whole trajectory, half the people here have probably seen. That's why they trust me. I'll tell you what I care about. If you want to keep telling me I hate an entire group of people because I care about these things, no one cares anymore. Literally no one. I'm vindicated. The whole world has woken up to this. You're only going to lose more support. I don't like speech laws being passed in America. I don't like to be morally blackmailed by people like you. I don't like to be blacklisted from Republican media for talking about this. I don't think billions of dollars to any country, whether it's Ukraine or Israel, is necessarily in our interests. I don't want to fight wars in Ukraine and Israel, or really anywhere for that matter. I don't want to fight Venezuela either. I think that's a whole bullshit regime change that Trump's orchestrating with the deep state, but that's a whole nother topic. Does that mean I hate Venezuelans too? Can I talk about what's going on? Like, if a Mexican donor gave Trump $500 million to do stuff for Mexico, would I be able to talk about it, or would I be anti-Mexican? But when a Jewish donor does that and gives Trump hundreds of millions of dollars to do things for Israel, and Trump admits it, now all of a sudden it's anti-Semitism. The word anti-Semitism is basically a cover for people noticing or talking about anything. Like, there is no equivalent, because nobody else does this bullshit. No Italian's going to say, oh, yeah, that Italian donor gave 500 million to donate to Trump to do things for Italy, but you're an anti-Italophobe for noticing. It's basically like a giant cover-up. It's like a giant conspiracy. And then people say there is no conspiracy. The conspiracy is you saying it's hateful to talk about it. I would talk about it if a Mexican guy gave Trump 500 million to do things for Mexico. And Trump even admitted on stage that's why he gets the money. He's like, I don't even think these people like America more than that country. He knows. Everyone knows. With that being said, that's the future. I mean, either you could call everybody anti-Semite, and lose the future to Zoran Mamdani, which I don't want to do, or you can allow people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie into the political process. These are your two options. Trump is the only one who could get away with what he did. He's Trump. You know what I'm saying? He's interesting. He's funny. He says, he got shot in the ear. It's like this hero tale from like lockdown communist who works with the pharmaceutical industry, disgraced Republican that people didn't even like anymore, to like Alvin Bragg's trying to arrest me. It's like a WWE thing. Everyone was like, yeah, we're over Trump now. And he's like, but Alvin Bragg's trying to arrest me. And then people are like, oh my gosh, he's a hero. He's going to save America. With that being said, Trump and the timing of it, as far as, Biden and Kamala, it was the perfect time for Trump 2024. That window is gone. It's going to be Zoran or someone like Marjorie in the future. If the GOP wants to go the route of Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham, they're going to lose to an AOC or a Gavin Newsom. That's the demographics of the future are already working against Republicans. Like, Republicans are working against the sands of time, because every year that unwinds, the demographics of America change and the statistics don't lie. The statistics say that the white demographic votes Republican. Other demographics don't. Women don't vote. I'm not that, like, it's not even about race, but if you look at like women vote Democrat, other races vote Democrat. The white demographic is like statistically the most pro Republican demographic. That's just factually true. Even if you're watching this and you're Indian or Mexican or black, it's just like stats. You know what I'm saying? It's like trying to go to a black neighborhood in New York and be like, maybe a Republican can win sometime. Probably not. Same with just New York City in general. Sliwa will probably never win. And even Cuomo was a terrible candidate, but someone can win like an Eric Adams. But as far as like a Republican in New York City, never again. Probably never again. Maybe, but probably never again. With that being said, the whole country is kind of shifting in that direction. So there isn't really, statistic time for people to not understand this stuff. Because I think not everybody, but a lot of people think, well, I like Trump and it's so fun to Trump, and he's tweeting about ICE and nanny, nanny, poo, poo, he's your president. Blah. Like that whole vibe is just like lobbing us up to Gavin Newsom and Mamdani. It's like, here you go. Lock these people down. And they're going to screw us because Trump talks so much shit, acts like he's going to do so many things, tweets about it, True Socials about it. What's the point of True Socialing about the filibuster 1,000 times? Just do it or don't. I don't give a shit. But it's like, why? Like Trump to me seems more, this is just like even during COVID and stuff, the chances of him being an agent of chaos or a Judas Goat are equally or higher than him just like being a savior of Republicans, where it's like, oh, he's going to help us. He closed the border. There's reasons to vote for him strategically. Like, I understand why people would want him over a Kamala. I'm not here to argue about that. That's a waste of time, in my opinion. But what I do want to say is, how do we know Trump's not just here to kind of fuck up and then leave us to Gavin Newsom? He's friends with Gavin Newsom. He's friends with Chuck Schumer. He's friends with Bill Gates. He's friends with Hillary Clinton. That might be his role. His role might be like, let's like just doing all the acting like he's changing all these norms of the presidency. I'm not saying he's the only one, because they all do it. Obama did stuff, etc. But with Trump, he's so ungraceful in his approach. It's not like he just does something and doesn't talk about it. He talks about it and then doesn't do it. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Like, why? If you're going to deport people, but why do you got to scream about it all the time? You're just going to piss people off and then like make a big spectacle out of stuff that doesn't even make that much sense. I'm pro deportation, and even I'm weirded out by it. It's like, why are you tweeting like you're some bitchy college student, some bratty Republican who just went to Turning Point her first time, and she's just like, like, what's the point of that? You're running an entire nation. It's a very complex thing. Do it. Show a little bit of grace and compassion, show strength, and keep it moving. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why is he always tweeting about all these things that are kind of never been done before and just throwing them out there like, will I do it? Will I not? To me, it feels like he's setting the precedent for the next Democrat to just do it. And with that being said, I do wonder if that's his role in general, because right now, him tweeting the economy's so great, him getting mad at Thomas Massey, he's probably going to get mad at Marjorie Taylor Greene one day, even though he hasn't, because she's been loyal to him. But, she's the next best, right next to Thomas Massey, if not surpassing him at this point. She's crushing it and being super honest and being likable. Like, where is this all leading? Who's going to run? It's going to be J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is not to be trusted at all. Neither is J.D. Vance. But J.D. Vance has like a little bit of no regime change energy to him, which is why the usual suspects are trying to get J.D. Vance out of there. Look at what they're doing to the Heritage Foundation. If you guys want to know where the future of the Republican Party is going, and I might leave after this because I don't know how much energy I have, but this is a point that a lot of people don't understand because they're not establishment. So they think like, oh, it's so black and white. Let me explain. I really have a good point to make here. I'm not in the establishment, and I'm not part of like the Republican media establishment. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not there. So although they don't like me, I'm not like that important in the grand scheme of things, because people like the neocons, the Mark Levin types, they're running Trump's entire administration, basically. So it's like you could talk on a podcast. Yeah, they don't like you. Yeah, they don't like Tucker Carlson, but they're more focused on like the actual things that matter when it comes to politics because most of that is dominated. So, like Tucker is a lot of bit more important than I am in the grand scheme of things and like the control thing. That's why they're bashing him. The Heritage Foundation, a guy said he wasn't going to condemn Tucker Carlson. Look what they did to the guy. They made him apologize. They're freaking out at him. They basically secretly recorded some other guy who worked there who said he didn't want to go to a Shabbat dinner, and they're getting him fired. They're trying to do what they were doing to Charlie Kirk before he died, which is like weed out any bit of criticism of Zionism or America First policies out of every organization in the establishment. And even though I know a lot of people think, and I'm not saying you have to like the establishment, and I'm not saying you have to trust media podcasters that are part of the establishment because you don't, and you probably shouldn't. But you have to understand there's levels to what's going on, and there are a lot of good people within the system. Doesn't mean you have to like that they're playing a game that you wouldn't want to play or I wouldn't want to play. But the truth is, the people like the Mark Levins, the people like the Dinesh D'Souza's, the people that are complaining about the Heritage Foundation, et cetera, the Tucker Carlsons, they're looking at a space that they pretty much dominate. I would say that Zionists control pretty much every aspect of Republican media. Fox News, Newsmax, Daily Wire, Turning Point. Oh, Candace Owens, she's gone. They control everything. Why do you think Matt Walsh? Go try to find his article before he worked at Daily Wire, where he talked about the Israel and the Jewish lobby. He used to talk about this stuff all the time. He knows it in his head. He just has to act like he doesn't and toe the line because Matt Walsh works at an organization that is heavily psychotically Zionist. And Matt knows it. And the more Matt tries to act like he doesn't understand what everyone's talking, he's lying. He's trying to lie to himself because he's got so many battles with the left that it's just too stressful for him, I think, to imagine that his own side's not even on his side. But anyway, nearly the entire Republican media establishment and political establishment is completely controlled by Zionists. They don't want 90% control. They don't want 85% control. They want 100% control. Charlie Kirk said at the end of his life he was being morally blackmailed, and you could watch the clips. He said he was being called an anti-Semite, Hamas, enemy, all of these things because they were trying to morally blackmail Charlie Kirk into getting rid of Tucker Carlson at his events. Because even though Turning Point USA was a heavily Zionist organization, it's never enough for the Zionists. They want everything. They don't want anybody America first. They don't want any Tucker Carlson. They didn't want Charlie Kirk to have his own opinions. They wanted him to be there and talk like a robot. They don't want 95% control. They want 100% control. So look at what's going on at the Heritage Foundation. Look at what's going on at Turning Point. Look at what's going on in the GOP establishment. They know probably everything about everybody, especially if people are in group chats and stuff. But even without that, they're probably spying on everybody. With that being said, they know who really thinks what. So if you're part of the establishment, whether it's Heritage Foundation, Turning Point, Tucker Carlson, loosely affiliated, I wouldn't say he's establishment, but he has establishment ties. He worked at CNN and Fox News. They know who isn't completely controllable and completely sold out. They're trying to weed everybody out that's not completely controllable. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massey, the Heritage Foundation guy, Charlie Kirk, when he was alive, they were freaking out about him. JD Vance, JD Vance will probably be heavily challenged by somebody like Marco Rubio. I know people don't want to hear this and they think I'm like shilling for JD Vance. I don't trust JD Vance at all. However, he does have this Charlie Kirk anti-war instinct, even though he's kind of a sellout too. And they know that. They know that deep down inside, JD Vance doesn't fully agree with them. They know everything, not everything, but you get it. So just watch for that over the year, because I know a lot of people like myself and people that watch my show, they have no love for anybody anywhere near the establishment, which I understand because, there's a lot of shills, and in order to get to certain places, you have to play a different game. You literally can't be yourself. But there are not that many, a decent amount of people, especially the youth, that they can't control. So they're trying now to have this public freakout session and make it act like it's just like Nick Fuentes versus this or anti-Semite. Like, yeah, there's Nick Fuentes and he's getting mainstream and it's pissing them off. That's happening. I'm not saying it's not, but there's a deeper thing going on where the Zionists are trying to weed everybody out, every Marjorie Taylor Greene out, so they don't exist in these movements anymore because they want complete control. They have almost complete control of the Trump administration outside of a few people. They know exactly who they don't completely control. They have very good control of most Republican media and activist organizations. And they're really freaking out now because they know the future is going to be decided by if anybody slips through the cracks. And I just, even though I don't even know fully what the Heritage Foundation does. Is it a think tank? Is it some donor organization? There's the Claremont Institute, the Heritage Found. Like, this is not my world. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what this shit is. I know that there's people that, work for them. I had a friend one time go to one, but I don't really fully understand it. But I do know it is some sort of like bigger deal than just like doing something to the side. So they want to solidify that the future of all these organizations are just Zionist, wall kissing small hat wearers, and any Christian man that doesn't completely comply to them will be thrown out. Sorry about the video. Will be thrown out, doxxed. Like they're willing to do almost anything in order to try to smear people. When I interviewed Vivek, it was like a coordinated media attack against me because they were like, all right, this guy is getting too high profile interview without our permission, even though I don't even know who they are. But it's like they know that they control everything. So it's like any sort of someone who slips through the cracks, they make sure that they either morally blackmail, they literally blackmail. Behind the scenes, they're talking shit about. And if they can't control it, now they're having like a public freak out session about everything because, there's some people slipping through the cracks. But, I wanted to just say, me personally, I tend to like the non-establishment people that I could, that I know are not affiliated with anybody because they're always the most honest. But, the people on the inside that aren't total shills, that's their main concern now. So just keep an eye on like Turning Point, the Heritage Foundation. Dan, here's my question. Okay. I'm a Christian, right? No disrespect. If you're Jewish and you kiss the wall, or you're Christian and you kiss the wall, you could do whatever you want. You could wear a little hat, you can kiss the wall. But there's hundreds of Christian and Catholic American politicians who put on a hat of a religion that they don't believe, and then they do some sort of religious ceremony with it on. Do other people do that? Do Jewish donors put on crosses and dress like the Pope and kiss a cross? Does anybody Jewish in Republican politics have to go to a church and kiss a cross? No. And I don't think they should. I would never force somebody Jewish or somebody Muslim to do something that their religion doesn't entail. It's a humiliation ritual. It's a humiliation ritual to say, we own you. You have to do this, or else we're gonna. It's exactly what you're doing. They say, if you don't do this, we're just gonna say you hate everybody, or you know what I'm saying? Not like if you don't. Oh my gosh, I got a cramp. But it's like, do this, or you might be called an anti-Semite. So people do it because they see what happens to people who don't do it. I would never say to somebody Jewish or Muslim, wear my religious garbs, go to my religious thing, kiss the cross, or else I'm going to call you an anti-Christian. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that happening? That's Republican politics. That's what they do. Everyone does this stuff. Why? If you're not Jewish, why would you wear a hat? Why would you do all this stuff? And if we're all doing this, if we're all just doing each other's religion to show each other how much we like each other, why is everyone else not doing it to our religion? Because our religion's being crushed. Our religion's being conquered. Our religion's being destroyed. Our religion's being overshadowed by a religion that is not our religion. It would be like if everyone had to go to freaking Mecca and bow down to Islamics, and then in America, we called Christianity Islamo-Christianity. Oh, these are Islamo-Christio values. There's similarities between Islam and Christianity, But Islamic values are Islamic values, Christian values are Christian values, and where there's overlap, there's overlap. There's no such thing as Islamo-Christian. There's no such thing as Christo-Islamic, and there's no such thing as Judeo-Christian. Judeo-Christian means you kiss the wall, wear the funny hat, and we're never going to put on a cross, and we're going to call you an anti-Semite, and we're going to get money, and we're going to morally blackmail you your whole career and lie about you and smear you in the press. And if you ever work at the Heritage Foundation, we're going to dox you and we're going to record you and we're going to ruin your life. That's what it means. So, you know, you could complain about it, but everybody's waking up to this reality. You have no counter because it is the reality of Republican politics. And to be honest, a lot of Democrat politics as well, but not all of it. And that's my, to the people that are listening, either the future goes to the Gavin Newsoms, the AOCs, and the Mamdanis, or the future goes to, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, even the JD Vances. I don't even trust JD Vance, but I'm telling you right now, people, I know they're not going to believe me, and I know they're just think I'm saying something. They don't like JD Vance. The Zionists are not a fan of JD Vance. Even though JD Vance plays ball, he doesn't play ball enough. They will try to, I could already see right now, they're going to try to put in Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, well-spoken. Republicans think he's like a cool guy now because Trump rebranded him. Marco Rubio is a total puppet. Marco Rubio is compliant, complacent. There's nothing he's going to do to buck the donors. He's not going to disagree. He's going to do everything that they want. JD Vance will do 95% of what they want, 96% of what they want. But similar to Charlie Kirk, JD Vance, he's not going that 100%, even if he did in the past. They hate that. It's about total control, total dominance. They're going to turn on JD Vance. They already have. If you follow who's doing what to who, I mean, maybe I don't know if I'm autistic, but I definitely research like I'm autistic. So shout out to my autistic, I almost said artards out there, but is that disrespectful? It's not just, is it? I feel like it's like saying the N-word if you're black or something. It's not disrespectful, but if you're not autistic, then it's disrespectful. I don't know. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to be funny, but I don't know if I'm allowed to or not. With all that being said, if I ever run for president, this will definitely be used against me. That's fine. With that being said, where was I? I was talking about being autistic. Oh yeah. I have like autistic level research abilities. And like if you want to see my autistic level research abilities being put to use, I haven't done it that much this year. Like as far as like showing it to you, because I'm exhausted of like having to like edit all the time. But the Charlie Kirk video I did, that has my autistic research ability shown to you. I was compiling who was saying what about what, and then I put it all together. I'm watching them do this. I could tell you who the Zionists don't like. Even if you would like, oh, but they don't like JD Vance. The same ones that were moving in certain ways, talking about Tucker, talking about Marjorie, they're doing the same thing to JD Vance. I'm telling you, they know that he isn't completely compliant, and it bothers them. So they're gonna replace him, or at least try to, with Marco Rubio or somebody like that. Lindsey Graham is not going to work. They're going to need something different. I mean, maybe one day Brandon Tatum will run. He's definitely going to the same events as like Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin, the Republican Jewish Coalition. Let me guess, you're an anti-Semite if you don't like the Republican Jewish Coalition, which is like some weird donor group or something. I don't know what they do, but anyway, yeah. It's someone said, yeah, guys, listen, honey, lemon, trust me, I crushed this pretty quickly. Like I'm feeling way better today. This was the worst flu of my entire life. Like I don't even want to tell you how bad my head was yesterday and my throat and yesterday. I feel better now. Breathing, my traps hurt. Like literally all my muscles hurt, my head hurt, my throat's sore, my throat, like it's been bad. But I'm here. So trust me, I took zinc, I took vitamin C, I ate like turmeric probably, I ate garlic, I did it all. That's why I'm able to be here. If I didn't do that, I think I would have been out for longer, but I'm beating it. I'm beating it up. I'm beating up the deep state, folks. I'm beating up COVID-50. Xi Jinping tried to give it to me because I was complaining about tariffs, and Xi Jinping he just threw something at me, and hit me in the face, and it ended up being COVID 45. But the thing was, when Xi Jinping threw COVID 45 in my face and ran away, it almost looked like a Xi Jinping mask, and it kind of looked like Fauci or that little North Carolina lab thing that they were, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out who gave this to me. Was it actually Xi Jinping? Because it looked like him. But when he ran away, it almost looked like Fauci wearing a Xi Jinping mask. So I'm still undecided about what's going on. Do I blame China? Do I blame the tariffs? Do I blame Fauci? Do I blame that guy who worked at the NIH, Francis Collins or something? I'm not sure. It could have came from the scarf of what was her name? Dr. Birx, Dr. Binks, Dora the Explorer with the scarf, Could have been anything. But I'm here to tell you, I beat it. I'm beating it. I'm in the process. It's not gone, but I'm doing my best. Appreciate y'all. Someone said that's so childish. My joke is childish. Yes. It's very childish. I'm a very, very dumb boy. Very stupid boy with stupid joke. Dumb boy. Let's boo. Is there a boo? Oh no, they don't have a boo. Let's laugh at that. Let's laugh at the dumb jokes because that guy it's just so childish. All right, well, I should probably leave before I start choking, but appreciate y'all. Just to wrap it up, Mamdani, he won for many reasons. He's young, he's an outsider. He could say whatever he wants and get away with it. He definitely ran a good campaign. He ran against Cuomo. It's good timing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that went in his favor in order to win. But the future, it's gonna lean more in that direction. It's gonna be more Mamdanis and Marjorie Taylor Greenes, Thomas Massey types and people like Mamdani who could say whatever they want, but just kind of be cool about it. Like, say, hey, it's Mamdani. Hey, I just smile a lot. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna freeze the rent. We're gonna freeze it, then we're gonna freeze dry it, then we're gonna ship it. Then we're going to heat it up. Then we're going to boil it. We're going to boil the rent. We're going to freeze the landlord. Wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think half the people were even listening to him. They were just like, he just smiled a lot. And they just, they were charmed. They were charmed by the snake charmer, by the Mamdani, by the Zoran. But no, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did what he had to do. Now he's going to turn into Vivek Obama. And he talked like this now, When he was on the campaign, he's like, hey, it's Zoran, baby. What's good? It's Zoran. Yo, we gonna freeze the landlords. And then when he gets in, now he's like, Zoran Mamdani, Vivek Obama. Thank you to Kathy Hochul. Thank you to my donors. Thank you to Alex Soros. It's like he's already talking differently. Like you could already see it in him. Same with like JD Vance when he was on when he was on Theo Von's podcast. He was very like chill. It was like very real. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm JD. I don't know why. I had JD talking like freaking like D'Angelo or something. Like he's a R&B black artist or something. But no, like how does JD Vance talk? I don't even know. Who cares? But anyway, on Theo Von, JD was like very chill and like normal. He didn't talk like a politician at all. And then when he's like answering questions at Turning Point, he's like, listen, maybe that happens to me too. I don't know. It's like, do we change sometime? I think everybody has like a different voice. Like if I was talking to like a job offer or something, I'd be like, hello. Like we all have a little bit of like Vivek Obama in us, but I don't know. I just noticed that like Mamdani, as soon as he won, he started sounding like Obama. JD on the Turning Point stage, he kind of sounded like a politician a little bit, but I don't know. Just something I noticed. Someone said I find elderberry works well. This is beyond a cold. I got hit with the Xi Jinping 5000, so it's okay. Equal parts of honey. I guess we'll keep it going since we're gonna get over an hour. If you guys got any questions, any super chats, I'm gonna go as long as I possibly can. I think this is all my water, so we're pretty screwed after this. So let's make it a good 5 minutes. Let's see. JD is Appalachian. We have many different sides. I get it though. Like when you're answering questions, sometimes you just come across a little different. I don't need I don't need health advice. I mean, I appreciate it, but it's just like I get it. Trust me. It's not my first rodeo. So I'm on the mend. If it were as bad as you got, like if it were bad, I wouldn't even be here. Yesterday it was like really, really bad. Today it's like kind of bad, but like yesterday it was like really bad. Today I'm here. I'm making it happen. You know what I'm saying? That's a good improvement. I had so much going on in my mind, but I couldn't talk. It was like God was like punishing me. You know what I'm saying? He's like, Anomaly, I know you have a blabbermouth and so much to say, and I fill your head with so much shit. I was like, yes, sir. Uh, but I'm gonna make your throat hurt and not be able to get up. And I'm like, that sucks. Why? What did I do? I mean, I learned my lesson. Now let me get back to work. Someone said, Anomaly, I have an autistic son and you are a nice person. Remember you having special needs kid on talking about abortion? What? Wait, you have an autistic son. I understood that. You're a nice person. I agree. I'm awesome. I remember you having the special needs kid on to talk about. Oh. I remember talking about, I think. I had a special needs kid on to talk about abortion. I'm trying to think. Like to say that it was bad or something. Like I'm sure you're right, but I don't remember. Who did I have on? I guess I've had like hundreds of guests on in the past. I just don't remember. But sorry, that whole thing went over my head. Do I think Daily Wire would collapse if Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles left? No, I just think it would get really gay. Here's my thing though. Matt Walsh, I like Matt Walsh. I think he's got an edge to him. I think he's really holding it together. I'm not a Michael Knowles hater because all my friends like Michael Knowles, right? Like all the homies seem to like Michael Knowles. I hate to be a hater, and like I like, but it is my podcast. I get to say what I want. I'm sure me and Michael Knowles would get along or something, but am I the only one that's underwhelmed with Michael Knowles' career? When you have a Daily Wire machine behind you, it's like a multi-million dollar, like borderline billion-dollar machine. You got camera guys, you got editors. Like if you could think it, you could do it. Like Daily Wire, for all of my criticisms of Daily Wire, it's an amazing company of like raw, but like Matt Walsh thinks of something, they did it for him. When Candace used to think of something, like they can do so much for you. What has Michael Knowles done? Like, what has he done? He's had one of the biggest machines behind him for forever. And I can't think of one thing he's ever done that has ever impressed me ever. Am I wrong? To me, he's like the most overrated and underwhelming character in Republican politics in the last 15 years. Like he's done literally nothing that's ever mattered. He doesn't say anything that matters. He never has a take that ever matters. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about Israel's influence for 6 years now. Has he ever weighed in with anything meaningful that has ever made any difference at all? Even Matt Walsh has before. You know what I'm saying? Like I see random people with no money and a cell phone that make more compelling content. Like, what has he done? What tell me what Michael Knowles does. What does he do? He's got an expensive multi-million dollar machine behind him where he could literally do anything, make any documentary, do anything. I know What Is a Woman. I know Candace Owens. Brett Cooper did, she went off on her own and now she's talking about the Israel lobby. What is Michael Knowles doing? He's not only smug, he's just like nothing. I'm not trying to turn this into a Michael Knowles hating fest, but it's like doing nothing is unimpressive, especially if you have nothing. Doing nothing when you have one of the biggest media organizations behind you to do whatever you do and make it better and bigger and give you like the industry, like they have like, industry leading editors, filmers, they got the best cameras in the world, they got unlimited budgets. What is Michael Knowles doing with it? He's doing nothing. He's literally the most overrated person in Republican politics. He's such a nothing burger. It's like he's been there for 10 years with this machine behind him, and somehow he's completely culturally irrelevant. Completely. The most relevant thing he could do is leave and admit that he didn't want to talk about the Israel lobby because he was at Daily Wire. That's like the only like what else? Like he doesn't do it. At least Matt Walsh does something. What is a woman? He takes on his own battles. Like Matt Walsh has done 50 times more than Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles does nothing. Same with Andrew Klavan, but I give him a pass because Andrew Klavan's like 1,000 years old. So it's like, yeah, of course he does nothing. He's just an old man yelling at the clouds. He's like, anti-Semitism. It's like, all right, dude, relax. Someone said, here's the most retarded thing I've read all day. Let's get it on screen. Candace Owens has flipped out and sold out to Palestine. Oh yeah, because Palestine has so much money to just give Candace Owens. Dude, they literally control demolition the entire country. It's literally like completely destroyed. It's like unparalleled how destroyed that place is. You think some kid just crawled out of the rubble before they died and just threw Candace Owens some money? There's a lot of things you could say about Candace Owens. Saying she sold out to Palestine money is the most retarded thing I've ever heard, but whatever. Someone said Michael Knowles isn't even an interesting Catholic. He's supposed to represent us. He can't even do that well. Knows near zero about faith. I've never heard him say anything of interest. Like literally nothing. I've seen dozens of viral clips of this person, that person during COVID. You know what I'm saying? During COVID, think about all the people that popped up during COVID, like Dr. Rashid Buttar, Judy Mikovits. You had this person, that person. I was doing good videos. You could think of like Dr. Shiva. There's like so many people that said so many things of consequence that caught my attention and I talked about and I shared with my audience. Michael Knowles has never done anything ever. He does literally nothing. Nothing. He's the most nothing of any. And I laugh. I'm not trying to be rude, but he has a multi-million-dollar machine behind him where he could do 50 times more than anyone else with very little effort. At least Matt Walsh does that. Candace Owens did it when she was there. Brett Cooper made a name for herself, ran away, and then told Randy Fine to go back to Israel. You know what I'm saying? What is Michael Knowles? Dude, it's like the most, I don't know. Maybe people know him in person, so they like him. I'm not saying I don't like him, but as somebody that's never like, I have no reason to pretend like I do. I'm just like, every time I see him talk, I'm like, this guy's smug. He's so basic. He's so like, there's like nothing to it. It's like any aspect of what he's doing, you could find somebody better at it. Somebody more honest, somebody funnier, somebody more likable, somebody edgier, somebody that's more advanced. Where was he during COVID? Why did he never go viral? Did he have nothing to say? Did he never have a good take during COVID that I saw? Let me know. Maybe he was saying something and just nobody likes him and shares his stuff. I don't know, but it's like there's so many people that I didn't know that have no budget that I found during COVID because they were able to put together good reports with their cell phone. What did that guy do? Where is it? Like, did he say anything? Ben Shapiro went viral a few times, but for the opposite reason. He was telling black people to go back, get the vaccine and not listen to Louis Farrakhan. Even that's something. It's not good, but it's like, at least he crossed my radar. Michael Knowles is like, I'm trying to like find an equivalent to him in media, but it's like if you went to Starbucks and you're like, can I have an empty grande cup? Give me an empty cup and fill it with extra nothing. $10. I'll pay $20 for it, but just make sure you put more air in there. It's like, am I wrong? Am I tripping? It's too late because I already tripped through that segment. So someone said Israel and Trump want Mamdani. Hold on. As mayor, this is how they will create a false flag. They need to make Islam evil again. Oh yeah, here's another thing I want to say too. Okay, and this is one of my best takes ever. And I feel like, and I say that not because I'm like, oh, this is, nobody else is saying this. So I feel like I like when my takes are unique. It doesn't need to be, but it's like nobody else seems to get this. The whole Republican thing against Mamdani, where they're like, he's a Muslim, he's a terrorist, he 9/11, blah, blah, blah. That only hits, just like with the socialism thing. Socialism sucks only hits if you're not doing socialism. Once you start doing socialism and printing money and handing out Trump checks and sending money to Ukraine and Israel and giving money to pharmaceutical companies during Operation Warp Speed, You are now a socialist. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about you crying about socialism anymore. It's the same thing with terrorism. You want to talk about 9/11? Mamdani didn't do 9/11. Al-Qaeda did 9/11, and an Al-Qaeda guy runs Syria right now. He was a former wanted terrorist. He had an embassy tweet that was still up on Twitter, probably still is now. Maybe they took it down now. He had a wanted poster for $10 million. He was wanted last year. At this time last year, this guy was a wanted former Al-Qaeda terrorist. Now he's invited to the United States. Now he's shaking hands with Marco Rubio. Now he's on stage with David Petraeus, the former CIA director. He's gonna get invited to the White House under Donald Trump. So if you want to talk about 9/11 and terrorism, talk about Al-Qaeda who did it, not Mamdani. But they don't even remember Al-Qaeda. But Republican boomers are so stupid. They don't even remember that Al-Qaeda did 9/11, because if they did, they'd have to realize that it seems like their government and their allies are working with them. How else can you describe a former wanted Al-Qaeda terrorist, and by former I mean last year, now he's invited to America? Now he's going to get invited to the White House? They are the terrorists. I didn't even like to talk about this before, because it's like I don't like to say things that I can't prove. At this point, it's becoming pretty clear the chances that the United States government was working with the terrorists is very high. You know what I'm saying? So if you care about 9/11, you should care that the group who did it now has a leader coming to your country. Not Mamdani, the guy who's the leader of Syria, because probably the CIA planted him there. They probably overthrew Bashar al-Assad and put him there. So, like you just picking some random annoying Muslim guy, being like, he's the terrorist, ha ha ha. It's literally retarded. It's like you're regurgitating leftover George Bush propaganda. Like, they didn't want you to hate Muslims so you could go beat up the terrorists. They wanted you to hate Muslims so they could go to the Middle East, fund the terrorists, destroy the Middle East, and then bring the ones that you didn't want here. That's what they did. If you're an American, I'm not asking you to like the Middle East or like Islam. But what I am saying is George Bush lied to you. Donald Trump's lying to you. The Zionists lied to you. The Democrats lied to you. Obama lied to you. So you just saying, oh, Mamdani's a terrorist who did 9/11. It's literally retarded, because you worship politicians who work with the people who did 9/11, and you don't even know it, because they always switch the groups. Well, now it's ISIS. Well, now it's Al-Qaeda. Well, now it's this group, and it's Bashar. Like, they're always like morphing and switching their groups. So, it's like that's the boomer Fox News Republican take. No wonder nobody likes them. They're like, Mamdani's Muslim and he's a terrorist. He did 9/11. How could you forget about 9/11? Nobody forgot about 9/11 except for Republican boomers. And other people probably forgot about it too. But it's like, if you want to be right about something. If you want to be rude to other people, at least be right about what you're talking about. If you're rude and you're wrong, you're just retarded. That's Republicans. Rude, wrong, retarded now. That should be the new, this is the new slogan for our party. Rude, retarded, wrong. Republicans, even though wrong starts with a W. That's fine. It sounds like it starts with an R. I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but it's like, hey, yeah, 9/11. What is another 9? Like, do you not even realize what happened or no? Like, Tucker's doing segments about how they lied about everything. You didn't watch any of those? They said that they found a passport in the rubble, and then they used that to go to like 7 different countries that had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda to overthrow their leaders, to create a refugee crisis, to then flood your nation with refugees. You didn't realize that they did that? Hate these Muslims, or was it these, or was it them, or was it these, or was it these people that aren't? That was their in order to start a war, to create a refugee crisis, to flood America and Europe with refugees. And now the group that did 9/11, Al-Qaeda, has a leader that was a wanted terrorist a year ago running Syria, and he's getting invited to America. And he's shaking hands with Marco Rubio. A literal Al-Qaeda terrorist is shaking hands with Marco Rubio. Say a lot of things about Mamdani. He is a communist. He is a socialist. He is annoying. He is a phony. He is a fraud. But if you're going to call him a terrorist and talk about 9/11, but you don't even know what I just said, what's the point? Nobody believes you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are starting to figure this stuff out. And you can't just go off of the George W. Bush script. It doesn't work anymore. The George W. Bush script was every Indian Muslim person's a terrorist. In the 2000s, I know because I was around then, nobody even knew the difference between, like, people thought Indian people were Muslim people. They didn't even know that, like, Middle Eastern and Indian weren't exactly the same. People just thought everybody did 9/11, and that's why we had to go fight a war. So you get what I'm saying? It's like that's now coming back to the Trump world where they're just like, every Muslim's a terrorist. Well, it's like, if you're going to say stuff like that, at least know something. You know what I'm saying? Like, know something, like, make a point. And then it's like, oh, well, that's kind of messed up, but at least they made a point. It's like Republicans are, oh, every Muslim's a terrorist, Mamdani, 9/11, blah, blah. It's like, what about your president shaking hands with a literal Al-Qaeda member because they probably funded him the whole time? We don't know about that. They never told us that on Fox News. Of course, because they're the ones not talking about it. They're the ones funding or pushing the wars. They're the ones tricking you. You know, it's fake opposition. The right starts the wars, the left floods you with refugees, and then they shake hands and pretend like it never happened. So, you know, it's just like, I don't like Mamdani. I don't trust him. I don't think he's genuine. I think he's a literal communist, and I think he's horrible for New York City. But I think the right's rhetoric around him is so dumb. It's so dumb. Ty Nation said, I got 2 hats. Thank you, guys. Dreamrare.com. I got to take off soon. I'm not feeling so hot, but I'm doing what I can. Made in America. You already know. Dreamrare.com. Thank you for people who did get them. We got a white one too. Someone said, thank you for explaining that. Look it up. That guy's going to be in the White House soon. And like I said, by former wanted Al-Qaeda terrorist, not that it should matter, because if you were once ever in Al-Qaeda, I think that speaks volumes, but not 20 years ago. Dude, this is another crazy thing too. I hate to make this example, but it's like, dude, David Duke gets the worst press ever. He was in the KKK like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. I'm not saying, like, you don't have to think he should get good press, right? He had an affiliation with a bad group, and now he can't get any good press from anyone ever. It's like, this dude's been basically blacklisted from America. His entire legacy scorned. They say he's the worst person in the world, right? But a guy who was on a wanted Al-Qaeda poster from 2017, that was a former Al-Qaeda member, that literally was wanted by the United States last year, a wanted Al-Qaeda member last year, a wanted post to our embassy website in 2017 that was on Twitter still. He's going to get invited to the White House. He's going to shake hands with the former CIA director. He's going to shake hands with Marco Rubio in America, a wanted Al-Qaeda terrorist from last year. Oh, yeah. But he gets good press, though. He gets great press, and he gets to come to America. No big deal, Republicans. Just call Mamdani a terrorist. Just yell with Dinesh D'Souza about anti-Semitism. That'll really fix this problem. You get what I'm saying? It's all one big joke. It's all one big joke, one big scam. And the same people claiming that they're fighting Islam are funding the radical elements of it. Tulsi used to talk about this all the time. She like, here's another thing too. There's certain places in the Middle East I'd never want to go. Just like there's certain places in America I'd never want to go. But not every, like, people think, oh man, it's all so bad. Dubai is nicer and cleaner than anywhere in America at this point. Like, it's uncomparable. A lot of these Muslim countries that have money are like cleaning up and fixing their cities way better than America's doing. I'm not comparing. I mean, I am comparing, but it's like, I love America. I'm just being honest. It's like, yes, some parts of the Middle East suck, but what people don't realize is the same Republicans that were claiming to help you, they were the ones starting the war to create the refugees that those countries didn't even want. And people just started fleeing from random countries to Europe and America. That's all because of the neocons and the Zionists and their foreign policy. They're like your fake friend. They're like, we're fighting the Islamicists by creating the refugee crisis that creates it. one thing that I've always brought up, it was in the Wall Street Journal, right? This was I forget his name, but he's a right-wing politician in Israel. He wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal just a year ago or so, recently. And he basically said, why doesn't Europe and America take all these Palestinian refugees? And his whole premise to the whole thing was like, well, they've taken so many from all the other wars. What's a few more? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody thinks that, but that's the whole dynamic to this relationship and situation. It's like on the television, they're telling you all these people are terrorists. The kids are terrorists. They're all Hamas. They're all bad. They're all this. They're all that. Right. And then they tell you that this is your greatest ally. Why would your ally want to flood your country with the people they just told you are terrorists? Why are they writing Wall Street Journal right wing op eds to convince right wingers that Europe and America should take all these people in? Because they don't care. Because as long as it doesn't affect them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't care. Because and this is my final point. They shouldn't have to care. You should care. Ted Cruz should care. Dinesh D'Souza should care. Donald Trump should care. These are the people that should care. It's not up to a foreign nation to care about you or places you like to visit in Europe. It's up to the people who live there. You should be America first. They should be Europe first. They shouldn't be engaging in wars for other people and then accumulating their refugees. It's not their fault. It's our fault. It's our politicians' fault. But that's why it's so important to make sure our politicians serve us. Because if they don't serve us, then what's really going on here? So, like, you're watching with Mamdani and others, and just Trump's foreign policy in general now, they're taking leftover George W. Bush talking points and strategies to trick Republicans and pro-America people, and they're running them through Donald Trump, and they're working. The whole Venezuela, the deep state, the CIA, the Uniparty, they've been wanting to regime change Venezuela for like a decade now. I could make a whole video explaining that. And I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't know that much about Venezuela. I don't really care. I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I don't care. Just do anything you want. But I'm just being honest. It's not like I have this deep-seated like love for Venezuela or Maduro. I don't give a shit about Maduro. I'm just letting you know the deep state, the CIA, the left, the right, they've wanted to regime change Venezuela for a decade, and Trump's doing it. They're running the George W. Bush agenda through Trump, and it works because people like Trump, just like they like George Bush. Be humble. Don't forget the days that you trusted George Bush for 15 years. You only figured out George Bush was lying in 2016. And now you're like, oh, I could never be tricked again. You were tricked forever. And then Trump told you the media lied, and now you think you'll never get tricked again? We all need to be humble. But in general, it's like the deep state, the neocons, the Zionists, the Uniparty, they realize that Trump has this unique time frame where he could do whatever he wants, and his supporters think it's awesome because it's like so much cooler than the woke left. So they're running regime change in Venezuela through Donald Trump. They're running wars through Donald Trump. His peace deal was completely fake. It didn't work. As far as a peace deal when an entire nation is like destroyed and controlled demolition, it's like, yeah, it's like destroying an entire city, just looking over at rubble, and then Trump standing on the rubble and being like, let's make peace. It's all fake. Ukraine war is not ended. He's not doing anything, but he's just putting on a spectacle because they know if he can kind of like sell it, I'm going to do war, but it's going to be peace. I'm going to do regime change, but I'm going to pretend like I'm blowing up drug boats and my people think it's badass. Tucker Carlson knows this. He's always knew what they were doing with regime change, probably because he was like working with them or as far as like the media organizations for a while, but he's always been pretty solid about this for the last decade. He did something about this and everybody gets mad at him. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, he does. You think he's blowing up drug boats. Shut up and let him blow up the drugs. They're telling you that because that's what you think. It's a regime change. It's like, oh, we got to fight Syria because the terrorists are going to hurt us in Syria. If they didn't start a regime change in Syria, you never would have even known. It never would have affected your life at all. The economy affects your life. The drugs coming to America affect your life. The opioids, the fentanyl, the border. Yeah, that all affects your life for sure, these drugs. But a lot of the drugs are being facilitated by the U.S., especially the legal ones. But when it comes to fentanyl, it's not even coming from Venezuela. Like less than 6% of drugs are coming from Venezuela. It's about regime change. But, I don't want to talk about that again because I already did, and I don't want to bore people. I'm just saying Trump is basically George Bush, who's like George Bush was then. Republicans trusted George Bush then, so it worked. Now they trust Trump. And this is what the boomers do. They just say, cry, baby, cry. I'm not crying. I'm just telling the truth. And you either are dumb or you don't want to hear it. You're like, hey, cry, libtard, cry. The only one who's going to cry is your kids and your kids' kids because you're going to leave them to Zoran Mamdani's because you're so stupid. Cry, baby, you cry. Cry me a river. Maybe you could cry, and if every tear had an IQ point, you could insert it into yourself and raise your IQ level because it's too low. How's that? It's like cry. There's no crying here. It's high level intelligent analysis that's so far over your head that you're like crapping your pants. You're an equivalent to like you give like a circus thing like cymbals. You're like that's you. We're having high level intelligent discussion. And people always just go, oh, cry about Trump, the Trump. That's all they're going to do for the next 4 years. Trump. I'm just letting you know. The same retards who got tricked by George Bush for 4 years, 8 years straight. No, you don't understand that we're going to go. Does America look like a country that won the war on terror? Did you go fight the bad guys? No, dummy. They were funding the terrorists, including politicians you like. They went overseas. They created regime change for foreign nations that have nothing to do with you. And then all of the foreigners that you hated, they flooded your country with because they hate you too. They literally think you're cattle. They think you're an animal. So stop acting like it. Someone said, dude, my wife didn't know who Charlie Kirk was, but she knows Anomaly's voice. Well, I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But someone said Trump has been such a disappointment. It's just one of those things. Like I'm not a politician. I'm not, I'm doing analysis. Like I've done the same thing for 10 years. Like either you come here, interact, say something intelligent. I won't yell at you and call you a retard, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's nothing like, do you want to hear something? Then listen. But this is the problem with the world. Anyone can learn anything if they just shut the fuck up and listen. Excuse my language. That's how you like. How do I know so much? It's because I don't act like these people. I don't just talk all the time and learn nothing. That's what some people do. They learn nothing over the course of 20 years. Excuse my language. Like you come to my show and act like you're shocked by me saying something valid that isn't just like Trump, and then they like throw up on themselves like a baby who ate too much Gerber. It's like, where do you think you are? This isn't the Michael Knowles show. This isn't the Andrew Klavan podcast. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like Basic Boy Productions or whatever you want. And it's never been for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, I can't fathom like why people like what people expect. Do you want me to not tell you what's going on? You want to just, I don't know, like, well, thank you, Justine. I appreciate you. I'm not trying to make you politically orphan, but it's like the Matrix. It's a sad, like when you realize what's going on, unfortunately, a lot of people just don't want to hear it. It is the reality of like, if George Bush were the real deal, the country wouldn't look this way. If we fought the war on terror and we won, because we've been literally fighting the war on terror for 20 years now, you wouldn't have all of these people on television and Fox News saying, hey, a big terrorist attack's coming. To me, that sounds like a big false flag is coming. Okay. Look at who's saying that. All the people that are saying that, no offense, are the least trustworthy Zionists that I know. And there are false flags coming, not false flag. They're saying a terrorist attack's coming. ISIS is coming. The former Al-Qaeda leader is now hanging out with Marco Rubio because he's the leader of Syria. ISIS once attacked Israel and apologized. So if you tell me Al-Qaeda and ISIS still are attacking us, I'm just going to assume it's a false flag because that's where all the logic, reason, and self-awareness comes from. So it's like the war on terror works so well that now a bunch of the least trustworthy people are fear-mongering on Republican media every day saying we're still going to get terror attacked. How are we still getting terror attacked if we, because we didn't win, because we're being led by literal parasites. Our party's not our party. The best person in our party is Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, and Trump's trying to kick Thomas Massie out of the party and endorse Lindsey Graham. I don't have that much more time on my hands right now, but wake up, MAGA. The real MAGA begins when people realize Trump is a fraud. You know, even if you still like him a little bit, like if Lindsey Graham wins re-election and Thomas Massie gets primaried, how could you possibly think that Trump is the real deal? Like, it doesn't even make any sort of sense whatsoever. Trump is like the new George Bush puppet for the elites, but he's way more likable and believable than George Bush. But what people forget is this George Bush that nobody likes, that's a new thing. You always figure out what happens when it's too late. That's American public. Oh, if everybody knew the COVID thing was like, as far as like the lockdowns and stuff and the vaccine mandates and Operation Warp Speed, it never would have happened. But the truth comes out 5 years later, and then it becomes common knowledge. Oh, yeah, lockdowns were nonsense. Oh, yeah, mask mandates were goofy. Oh, yeah, vaccine mandates were ridiculous. Yet now you say that, but when it actually mattered, nobody was saying that, or at least not enough people. It's the same thing with George Bush. Like, Republicans have this, oh, yeah, George Bush sucks. He won 2 elections, so clearly you didn't think that then. You didn't realize that until Obama, after Obama. Trump is the same way. Trump has this legacy right now, like the same as George Bush. George Bush is this great leader. He's going to fight the Muslims. Now George Bush is the laughingstock of the Republican Party. Trump may have brainwashed too many people to ever have that legacy, but at the current rate of things, he's going to have the same legacy as George Bush. And then as soon as everybody doesn't like Donald Trump anymore, it's going to be too late. And then they're going to have the new Donald Trump, the Marco Rubio, or the next plant that they have. So, you know, I just hope people pay a little bit of attention, because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see all these trends going on. The fact that Mamdani won, the fact that Trump is acting like inflation it doesn't exist, and he said the affordability problem's dead. Nobody wants a billionaire who makes a bunch of money doing crypto schemes, building ballrooms, telling us that affordability is good. Affordability is not good. Like, you know, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I don't know. It depends who you compare me to, but it's like, it's not, the country's not doing that great. Like, health insurance is a scam. Car insurance is a scam. Rent is a scam. Prices are going up. Quality's going down. I can't think of 3 things in this country that are getting better. And I'm not trying to be a complainer, but it's like, they're building shittier than they used to. Customer service is shittier than it's ever been. They're raising the premiums all the time. I don't need some billionaire crypto scammer to sit there being like, there is no affordability problem. And then you got a bunch of these like Trump slobbing boomers being like, yeah, that's good messaging. Yeah, anomaly. Don't complain about it. It's like, nobody likes that shit. He's literally just going to take us, just like, if you think of Trump's trajectory, first 3 years, COVID, he just tombstone slammed us into the ground and handed us off to Biden. Whether he meant to or not, some people think he made a mistake or he couldn't help it. I don't really think so. I hope not. But at the end of the day, thank you for the super chat. But in general, he's going to do the same thing. And I understand why some people like him. But for some of us that hopefully have a long time to live on this earth, like, we don't want to put up with this crap. Like, the fact that you're so resistant to hearing what I'm saying and what others are saying, yet you're like, oh, you're screwed in the future. The left's going to win. I don't have to deal with this stuff. But then you won't even hear out what we're saying right now, and we're going to have to deal with this crap. It's so annoying. It's like Trump is on a trajectory right now of body slamming us into the ground and then leaving us with the Mamdani. So I said, boring. Oh, there's Scott. There's Scott. What's up, Scott? I see you crying on every post, my brother. Crying on every post, crying, lying, saying everything's anti-Semitic. Maybe you should watch Dinesh D'Souza. and tell them. And while you're at it, since you like gaslighting so much and lying, why don't you tell Dinesh D'Souza, Dinesh, you're one of the best looking guys I've ever seen in my life, Dinesh, man. He's like, really, really, you think so? Wow, thank you, thank you. There's so much anti-Semitism there. We gotta stop Tucker Carlson. We gotta stop Tucker Carlson because he's a real problem. And that Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, God forbid we have any politicians serving America. I mean, it's gonna be a real problem. Well, maybe that's more your speed, buddy. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Dreamrare.com. Pick yourself up a hat made in the USA. You already know. American flag on the back. DREAMRARE. Dreamrare.com. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to heal myself or try to heal myself. And, I should be able to have some better live streams in the future. Chuck said you're wrong as usual. Okay, Boomer. Let me guess, Boomer. Let me guess, Chuck the Boomer. Let me guess. You probably thought George Bush was the real deal for like 8 years straight. Then you probably just cried about Obama and believed people like Ted Cruz. Then you voted for Donald Trump, and then you think he just made a mistake. Then you Operation Warp Speed, but communism and socialism is cool now because you'd rather suck off Trump than fight for your kid's future. That's the thing about these boomers. They're so like embarrassing. That's why like most of the youth like hates them. I'm trying to be nice. I have a shirt that says I like boomers. I'm trying to bring the boomers back. But it's like most of the kids are Democrat because they hate you. They literally look at you and they're disgusted. They're like, what is this? This is like the most selfish, the stupidest, the most ignorant person I've ever met. And you're like, hey, wrong as usual, patriot. I watch Newsmax and I don't even realize it's a complete false opposition media. And, we're beating up the deep state every day, patriot. And, affordability's dead because Trump said so. I mean, yeah, he's a billionaire doing crypto scams, but most people like affordability's not dead. But I'm just going to just annoy people for the rest of my life and leave you with the Mamdanis and go take another vacation and leave you no inheritance because you're a spoiled kid. And, even though we destroyed America, we're just going to spend the last 20 years of our lives just being really fucking annoying and pissing everybody off and being ignorant and acting like an animal. But anyway, it's all your fault. We're gonna go to Hawaii now. God bless you guys. Appreciate you. That took a lot out of me, but it was worth it. Appreciate you. Have a good day. I'll be back with